Hi, and welcome to part 3 of the Laws of Indices Introduction. Here we're going to build upon what we saw in part 2. So main things we saw there was how to approach these type of questions. So for multiplication, remember we multiply the numbers and we add the powers. And again, if there's no number, here we're missing a number, then it means that number is 1. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So it'll be 15y to the power of 5. And it's the same idea with the division, where you want to divide the numbers and subtract the powers. Again, there's no number here, which means that number is 1. So numbers first, you do 7 divided by 1, which is 7. We subtract the powers, 11 take away 5 is 6. So it'll be 7a to the power of 6. What we're looking at in this lesson is moving past that into two different types of harder question. One where we have the whole stuff to another power, and another type of question which is slightly easier when you have more than one letter involved. So looking at those first, this is roughly the same idea as before. We're going to multiply the numbers and we're going to add together the powers, but when we add together the powers, we're going to keep each letter separate. So I'll go for this to explain what I mean. First step, you want to multiply the numbers. We're going to do 4 times 5, which gives us 20. Next, we're going to add the powers, but only for stuff with the letter A. So 3 plus 4 is 7, so we're going to have 20a to the 7. Then we do the exact same thing, but we're going to add the powers now for the b's only. So 2 plus 2 is 4, so therefore it's going to be b to the 4. And that's your final answer. So you treat every single number and letter separately. Just going through that again. So first things first, I have no powers here. That means these powers are 1. And then I go through each number and letter separately. So first, 2 times 3 is 6. Next, on to the d's, 1 plus 4 is 5. So d to the 5. Then on to the e's, there should be an e, sorry. 1 plus 5 is 6. And that would be your final answer. Okay? We can also extend this to division, whereby it's the exact same idea. Here, we're going to divide the numbers as before, and then subtract the letters. Again, we're going to keep each letter and number separate. So first, I'm going to do 20 divided by 4. Then I'm going to look at the m's, and then finally the n's. So let's go through this. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Next, for my m's, I want to subtract the powers. So we do 5 take away 2. That gives us 3. So it's 5m to the power of 3. Then the same idea for the n's. We do 4 take away 2, which is 2. So it's going to be n to the power of 2, or n squared. And that's your answer. Okay, that's all you need to do. Just go through one more example really quickly. And again, just make sure you do each letter and number separately. That's the key thing with these questions. Okay. So for this question, I'll do my numbers first. I have 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. I now look at my p's. I've got no number here, so that means this number's 1. 3 take away 1 is 2, so it's going to be 8p squared, or to the power of 2. And I'll look at my q's. I've only got one q here. Because there's no q down here, the answer doesn't change, so it just stays as q to the power of 5. And that's it. Moving on to the other types of question, this is where we've got something all squared. So again, really basic recap, I've done it before. Something squared just means that thing times by itself. And again, if this was cubed, we'd then have 3 4s. So to work this out, we're going to do the exact same trick. 4x to the 5 all squared, that just means 4x to the 5 times 4x to the 5. And this we've been solving in part 2. This we know how to do. So your first step is to expand out the squared, and then solve it as normal. We're going to multiply the numbers and we're going to add the powers. So 4 times 4 is 16 and 5 plus 5 is 10. So it's 16x to the power of 10. And that idea works no matter what your power is. So here I've got a cubed. Remember, cube means times by itself 3 times. So therefore, to write it out in long form, I've got 2y to the 4 times 2y to the 4 times 2y to the 4. And again, because this power is 3, that means there are 3 copies of 2y to the 4. Now we're going to work it out by using the same rules as before. We're going to times together our numbers and add our powers. So timesing together our numbers, we've got 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. So 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 8. Next, we want to add our powers. So we have 4 plus 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8, add another 4 is 12. So it's going to be 8y to the power 12. And that's pretty much it. Last thing to mention, the mistake I most often see is people forgetting to put these letters back in. So you end up with just 8 to the power 12. We must include this same letter. Okay. Otherwise, that's it. Thanks for listening, and I hope that was helpful.